Hey, how's it going? It's Walsh here, sick as always. Today I'm going to be talking about Path of Exile 2, which did come out last week, which I'm sure you've heard 10 million times by now. I am going to talk a lot about what I think about Path of Exile 2, what I like, what I don't like, but so you don't have to sit through the whole video if you just want to know how I feel. Path of Exile 2 is not even like on the horizon of Path of Exile 1 in terms of complexity, in terms of the enjoyment I get out of it. There's a lot of things I don't like, but this game also does a lot of things I do like. But the TLDR, Path of Exile 2 is easily the second or third best ARPG, but Path of Exile 1 is so far ahead every single ARPG in existence that this game doesn't look good by comparison, but it is a good game. I do recommend it. I did have my Ascendancy randomized by a friend in the Discord. I got Sorceress and I had to play a Stormweaver. It was very obvious right on the beach that fire and lightning damage are absolutely insane. I guarantee if you play anything fire or lightning, you'll walk through the game. So I decided to go with cold damage because it seemed like the absolute weakest. But anyway, let's talk about my experience of the campaign and my character overall. So my experience with the campaign was overall very positive. I had a good time. I got a reality check really quickly. I was trying to run past stuff and just kind of ignore most of the content. I made it all the way to the end of the end of Act 1 boss before I really ran into a wall. But then I went back, did some side quests. I realized I was missing like two or I think it was four skill points from quest or whatever. Went back, deleted the boss. I visually the game is absolutely beautiful. It feels great. I will say that running around and dodge rolling and stuff takes quite a while to get used to. And when your movement speed is really low, like if you're 0% or 10%, it kind of feels like you're like walking in water. Maybe that was just me, but I don't know. I did like it. It was kind of a weird vibe. But as I got more movement speed, it felt really nice. I do want to address. So basically, TLDR for the campaign, I had no issues at all. The only times I ever had an issue is because I was trying to go too fast or I was just doing something really stupid. But the only real issue I have is the lab. Lab is dumb. So I am level, right now, I'm level 71. I have not done my third lab. You want to know why? So I failed it the first time because I was level, I did it, I think, I can't remember what level it was. I think it was 52 or something like that. I did it as soon as I could. It was Sanctum, and I failed. It was just ridiculous. It was 2 floors, and I kept getting really bad RNG on the rooms. And then the second time, I went to Ultimatum, and the last boss was the big Chimera, and he was like all the way up top this big platform, and he was glitched in an animation. So he does this fire breathing animation where he burns the ground, and he was just sitting there doing it for 4 minutes straight. I tried going up there and kiting him around or whatever, but he was just stuck in the animation. I thought maybe if I rolled under him and tried to roll out, it would break it, but I died. So what happens in Cruel when you don't have your lab anymore? Well, the only way to get it is to farm a random zone and pray that it drops. Now, how bad is the RNG on this? Well, in total, I have spent 3 hours farming zones, and I've gone any zone from 52 to the highest zone. What was it, like 60 something? But yeah, the highest zone is like 63, 64, whatever it is. I farmed for hours and hours and hours, and I still have not dropped one. So I'm straight up hard locked out of my third lab, which is very frustrating and really stupid. I loved the campaign. I had a great time I don't even want to talk about every single boss individually because I really think part of the enjoyment of this game is actually fighting the bosses, experiencing them for the first time, figuring out what they do. I thought it was really fun. I really liked it. But the lab is just so stupid. You have to do either simulacrum or sorry, simulacrum. You either have to do sanctum or you have to do ultimatum, and both of them are heavily dictated by RNG. If you're not playing some meta overpowered character, you are going to get screwed over really bad, really often. Like, for example, I was doing my Sanctum. I almost got done with it, but unfortunately, I had to either take, reduce movement speed or whatever it was, or I can't see what the afflictions are going to be, so I took that one, and the very next room was a trap modifier, and I lost it. Now, granted, that one could have been avoidable, but it was very frustrating. 2 floors with a slow character, not very fun. Also, I'm fairly certain that the bosses in the second lab scale to you or whatever, because I did get one more try at the ultimatum, and I got the bird boss. He auto attacked once, and I died. It wasn't even a slam; it was just like a little like swipe thing. Instantly died. I also want to point out that I have not mind over matter, but 10% of all damage I take is taken from my mana first, and I died instantly. Now you might think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, I was level 62 and the zone was 52, and this character is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's the tankiest thing in the world, but it's tanky enough where I just stood still and face tanked the last boss in Cruel Act 3, but a zone that was 10 levels lower than me instantly kills me. Kind of crazy. So yeah, that's my biggest rant with the campaign. Lab is dumb. It's heavily RNG gated. Makes no sense. For the third lab, you should definitely have infinite tries, or you should at least be able to go redo the quest, like kill that boss again and get it again. But other than that, campaign was great. Highly recommend it. Just keep, if you're having a hard time, just keep grinding, keep pushing through. You will survive. Now I'm going to show you some mapping here soon, but first I want to talk about the currency. The currency, first of all, it all looks and feels really weird, but like I'm coming from the perspective of Path of Exile player, so maybe it's not weird for a new person. But I don't know, man. It's just odd. It's just very weird. The stash tabs feel weird. I don't really like this whole system. This is like obnoxious. But again, maybe maybe I'm not supposed to be picking all these up, but I'm gonna keep picking them up. Uh, if I had to say, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to like. I feel like everyone's doing the same thing, like comparing this game to like Diablo 4 and whatever. But like, it's all the same genre. This game is between. It's like so Diablo 4 is the low end, right? And then above that by like, I don't know, 30-40% is Last Epoch. This game is somewhere above Last Epoch, but just barely. So you do have choices with your character, but man, the skill tree is so bland. It's so boring. There's like no life on it, no res. It's like it's basically very generic like damage stuff, and then it's very generic resist stuff. Or not resist, but like armor and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I don't dig the tree. It feels like so it kind of feel Path of Exile 2 kind of to me feels like GGG was tired of waiting for someone to be like an actual competitor, so they made their own action role playing game. And like if you imagine PoE 2 was made by like some new developer, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I could see how they copied a lot of stuff from PoE 1." And that's good. That's a good thing. But something was lost in translation. It feels really simple, really watered down. Even I don't know, man. The tree looks nice. Like everything looks nice, but as I look at it like more closely, it's just like I don't know, man. It's not very in depth. And I know people are going to say like oh well, it's early access or whatever, like it's not fully released. I don't really buy that excuse. I mean, not only have they been working on this for a very long time, but they've put a lot of resources into it. And this is the game right now. This is not a free game. If you want to play this game right now, you have to pay $30. So to say like it's $30, but it's not actually a complete game, I don't buy that excuse. I'm not down with that. So anyway, other than that, the gem system, I think it's bad. I think it's a straight downgrade from PoE 1. I understand that like they're trying to do a different game, but it feels like they're going out of their way to like try to make it so different that they're forgetting all the things that made PoE 1 great. But again, I do like it. I like that it's a new system. I like that it's kind of unique. I just hate that it's very simple and it feels to me, or it feels to me very watered down. It's not bad though. Like I get it, it's cool. You get to do all kinds of things. I'm having a lot of fun with my character. We're gonna talk about my build here in a minute. But it just feels I don't know, it just feels like something's missing. It's kind of hard to explain. But like the whole like, you don't have to link anything. Your gear is very boring. The mods on it are very simple. I don't know, man. It just watered down. I know I've said it like 8 times, but it's like it's the perfect thing to say. I freaking love the new flask system. So much better. I love the spirit system. I think that's an amazing idea. Instead of every single character just having to reserve mana and then go from there, now you reserve spirit and you get to choose what to do with your resource. Super cool. I love the whole charm thing. That's pretty awesome. I said the gear was kind of simple, it's whatever. The crafting, by the way, I actually think is an upgrade. I actually think it's better. I have used like I don't know, 14 exalts this league, and it's like, I say league, but it's a release, and it's been like, 2 or 3 days or whatever. I like that a lot. Some of the currency is really cool. I like crafting. I've been crafting nonstop. Been making some pretty cool stuff, and also some trash, but that's kind of how it works. I will also say every single unique I've found has been just unusable trash. They all feel very boring and generic. I'm not a fan. I've been vendoring most of it. I'm sure there's some that are good, but so far it's all been really, really awful. Like even finding stuff like like I was so excited. Where'd it go? I was so excited to see a frost breath, and then I looked at it. I was like, "What the hell? This thing is trash. It doesn't do anything. It's just a generic weapon with slight damage. It doesn't even do a lot of damage." I don't know, man. It just feels weird. All right, let's talk about the mapping system, and then I'm going to show you some of my mapping and talk about my character. This whole like overworld thing with the waystones, it's okay. I haven't done it enough. I don't want to I don't know. I don't want to give too much of an opinion on this because, as you can see, I'm just getting into it. I've done maybe like 15 maps or something like that. I've finished the first quest. I've done some tier 2s. I've done some more tier 1s. So far, I am enjoying it, but it definitely feels like a straight downgrade from Path of Exile 1's mapping system. Like, it just feels way less interesting. And you know what? If I had to sum up Path of Exile 2 in one way, I would just say it feels like you have little to no agency on what's actually going on in this game, where PoE 1 is the exact opposite. Everything going on in PoE 1 you can interact with and affect and change based on your choices. And in this game, it's like you kind of get that, but you're mostly gated behind did you pick the right skill? Did you pick the strongest ascendancy? Did you pick this? Did you pick this? If not, you're screwed. Whereas in PoE 1, you can pick, as I mean, if you want an example of that, just look at any of the characters I play. You can play absolute trash characters, but if you're willing to farm and grind it out, you can absolutely push through. But on this character, it just feels like that's not really how it works. A lot, like, for example, in the campaign, there was a boss that I was struggling on very badly, but then I learned that if you get a ton of damage, you could skip the last phase of the boss. So once again, this game is going down that route of like just do insane damage and ignore everything else. It was the what was it? It was in Act 3. It was the Viper chick who has like the army of soldiers around you, and she does this ability where all of her guys throw poison spears at you. And the first phase is fine, but the second phase where they're side by side, it one shots you. But if you do enough damage, you skip that entire phase anyway. And the same thing is with this game, and like not just with campaign, but everything in general. It's just like rush damage, and you can ignore anything that's hard. But yeah, anyway, I got a little off topic, but anyway, mapping so far, it's okay, not great. Also, I don't even know how to see my... How do I even see my... I have no idea. Is there a way? Oh, here we go. The Atlas tree, very boring. Very boring, very generic stuff, very uninteresting, very small. Not a big fan of it. I'm not going to say it's bad because, like, I don't know how you get all of these. I'm not sure how hard these are going to be. But these are all super boring. And I understand, early access, the tree is smaller or whatever. But again, this is a $30 game or $500 if you paid, like, 500 over your lifetime you get to play or whatever. But, yeah, dude, this is, like, 30 points. This is, like, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be, like, rude, but it feels embarrassing to look at. Coming from Path of Exile 1, where, like, the main reason I love the game so much is you have just choices upon choices upon choices, and this game is just the complete opposite of that. But I'm not going to say that is a bad thing. It's just a bad thing for me. Because Path of Exile 2 is not Path of Exile 1, and it's not trying to be, and that's a good thing. But so far, this game is the absolute opposite of everything I loved about PoE 1. But I'm not giving up on it yet. Not giving up on it. I'm still having fun. The only reason I almost quit was lab. Ridiculous. Farmed for 3 hours and did not get one drop to actually do the invite. And then even if you do get the invite to do your lab, it's so RNG gated. If you're doing the ultimatum, if you get unlucky with the mods that really brick your character, you're screwed and you fail and you have to go farm another 3 hours if you're unlucky like me. Or you have to do Sanctum and one unlucky situation or one unlucky room, and all of a sudden you have to do it again. I don't know, man. The worst part about this game, like if the lab wasn't so bad and horribly done, I think I'd have very little bad things to say about the game. Alright, we're going to go into some video for me mapping and whatnot, but before we do, let me just tell you what my character is really quickly. I am using freezing shards, which is gained from the specific staff. I am also using, oops, sorry, not using the button still. I'm also using cast on freeze to automatically use Comet, which is sick, and the Comet does big crits. I'm also using Cold Snap, which does insane damage. It's a pretty fun build so far. A lot of times you'll see when you're mapping, you just throw down a Frost Bomb and you walk away, the Comet will kill them. You hit very fast and you can crit very often with your main attack, the Freezing Shards, which also triggers it, and it freezes them, so you can also Cold Snap them. In addition to that, my character has, you know, decent stats. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't have the armor gear that I really want, but, like, it's really hard to find any gear at all. But eventually it's going to be armor, energy shield. I also have mental perseverance, so 10% of the damage is taken from mana before life. Unfortunately, mind over matter is not the same in this game. It's pretty bad for at least what I want to do. My goal is to eventually go for Tempest Caller. I don't know if I'm going to go for Rain Dancer. It's going to depend on how long the cooldown is. And that's assuming I can ever do my third lab anyway. But as you can see, my resists are okay. It's kind of hard to get armor, like I said, because I can't really find any gear. But overall, I pretty much never died. The only thing that's ever really killed me is lab. We have a lot of crit stuff, all kinds of crit stuff over here. Cast speed, more cast speeds, chaos res. I do have this wheel for movement speed, ES, and armor whenever I eventually get it. I also came up here. I got up here to penetration, level of all cold skills, and also freeze buildup. Even came over here and got more crit stuff, which is awesome. I actually take like 40% less damage from crits, which is sick. And I'm coming for calibration just to get more ES. So yeah, that's basically my character. You're going to see the video now, but just want to quickly summarize once again. I had an amazing time with the campaign. I had fun figuring it out. I had fun failing and having to try again. I'm now getting used to the roll thing, and I just want to really quickly talk about the roll mechanic. So in Path of Exile 1, how do you survive? Talking about Ruthless here, not talking about, you know, Bench League. In Ruthless, how do you survive? You dodge stuff. So it's kind of like, it's in the same mind space as how you survive in PoE 1, but it's its own method. The only thing I don't like is when you have games that have iframes, it's inevitable that they're going to make bosses where it's like, you just have to perfectly time your iframe or you die. And that's like, I understand that's a skill thing for sure. Like, you know, I had to do that a few times in the campaign. It just feels so boring. I don't like ever having immunity, period. I just think it's silly. But I think it's good for this game. I actually think it was the right choice. I think if they would have gone the like PoE method where you use a movement skill or you just have to position yourself correctly or whatever, I think if you would have used that in this game, it would have been very boring and uninteresting. You have such little agency on what's going on because your gems are pretty hard locked, the support gems are very minimal, and you can't use more than one at the same time. That like having this is just a way to give you more control and impact while you're playing. So I think it's overall a very good decision. I also really, like I said earlier, I really love the currency. I don't like how it looks weird, but in terms of using it, it's kind of awesome. I love that I can craft all the time. I love that I get to attempt stuff all the time. I like that GCPs are pretty sick. The Jeweler Orb thing, I'm not a huge fan of, but it's fine. I like that we can actually put sockets on our gear to actually just put runes in it that do stuff. Also, if you haven't done Delirium yet, Delirium is the new Blight. In case you didn't know. Hold on. Check this out. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, there is a combination. There we go. Yeah, so check that out. You can actually anoint your stuff with Delirium, which is pretty cool. I like that. I'm a little sad that Blight is probably gone, but hey, whatever, it's cool. And I also like the tablet thing. I think it's pretty fun. There's a lot of good stuff here. Path of Exile 2 is a good game. I like it. I don't know how long I'm going to play it, but there's a lot of neat stuff going on. I like that you can do stuff like this. Boom, now I have breaches everywhere. It's cool. It's awesome. It's a new way to do endgame. I don't really know if I'm going to like it. But anyway, let's stop talking and let's go look at mapping. Alright, so far I've had absolutely no issues with maps. The only times I die is when I'm like being way too cocky and I just dive into a pack like an idiot. But as you can see, I just move around, I shoot stuff, and whenever I freeze, well, every other freeze. So you freeze once, it gets you really close to the trigger, and then the second freeze actually makes it trigger. The comet does insane damage. It feels awesome. My clear speed is like, it's good, but you can get in these awkward situations where like there's a bunch of monsters from different directions. Sometimes you can't freeze the ones behind you fast enough. But overall, as you can see, it feels really nice. Sometimes if I trigger like 2 or 3 comets like rapidly, I get some FPS drops, but that's fine. I also really, I don't know why, but how do I explain this? So GGG, in my opinion, has always been amazing at doing really little things that just make the game feel better. When you like kill like a monster behind you and your character's still looking back, and then eventually she turns around as you walk forward, I don't know why that feels so natural, but it feels really good as a player. The dodge roll stuff feels a lot better now that I'm at like, what, 24% movement speed. But as you can see, sometimes you can just frost bomb, freeze the pack. If they don't die to the comet, I just blow them up with cold snap. Cold snap does like 30k damage if it doesn't crit, which is pretty nice. The freeze like isn't the freeze isn't going to keep you alive as much as it does in PoE 1, but it can be helpful. Also, I'll show you a boss here in a second, but this is my mapping. This is what I've been doing. I pretty much never die, like I said, unless I'm being an idiot. It feels pretty good. There are some situations that feel awkward. I will warn you, the biggest downside that I've found so far of using a weapon skill for your main damage is you don't really have much control on when you can get additional links. But assuming I can get the 4 link, I'd really like to use Pierce, at least for mapping. That would feel awesome. The only reason I'm not doing it right now is because it's not really that necessary. 8, I just want to do more damage. I haven't looked at anyone else. I don't know what anyone else is doing. All I know is like minions, fire, and cold are certainly meta. I'm sure melee is insane, but only very specific melee skills. But again, I'm not looking at anything. I don't want to like base my opinion on other people's like what they're doing. I do have a couple friends playing PoE 2. One friend is playing minions, and he's like, I don't know what anything does. I just delete everything. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I have one friend that's playing a sorceress like me, but they're full lightning damage, and they said the game isn't even fun, and they've already quit. So that's not good. But I mean, like, a lot of my friends have the same mindset as me, so like I can see. Like, I was very close to not playing this game anymore. Like, it was Saturday night, and I was like, I'm done. But I'm really glad I followed my own advice, the same advice I give people when trying to play Ruthless. Give it 3 days. Don't just play like 4 hours and then be like, alright, this game isn't for me. I played this game until Sunday, and it's Monday now, and if I would have quit on Saturday, I would have missed out. Path of Exile 2 is a good game. It just might not be a good game for you. I like that the game is difficult. I don't like how there's a lot of cheap stuff, like the lab mainly. Honestly, if the lab wasn't so messed up, I would have much better things to say, but it's just so bad. So bad. I'm sure for like crazy powerful characters, they're like, what are you even talking about? But I am not. I'm already starting to see some like cracks in the endgame system, but it might get better later on. It's kind of boring when you have to run around the map trying to find the last rare you have to kill. But whenever there is a map boss, it's such a nice change of pace. I just want to point out, I have to upgrade a lot of gear, but already, and again, I have nothing to compare this to, but already my single target feels fine, my clear speed feels fine. As you can see, we're doing a boss here. But generally speaking, when I'm doing maps, I just feel bored. If there's no boss in the map, or if there's no mechanic, it's just like you're running around a zone, killing rares. And it, like I said, it might get better later on, but for now, it's kind of like whatever. But I do like the bosses. Every single boss I've fought so far is really fun. I did fight another one, but I don't want to show you that one because that boss fight was actually really fun, and I think you'll enjoy seeing it for yourself for the first time. You see that? I just face tanked that slam. I'm so tanky, but a level 52 ultimatum zone one-shots me. It's absolutely insane. But as you can see, we do a pretty good job. Again, I have nothing to compare it to, but having a good time. I also do like the tower system. I'm so over people using precursor or ancient ones for monsters or whatever, but it's fine. I don't care. The map system is, like I said, I'm still figuring out if I like it or not. But I'm having a good time. It's interesting. It's cool looking around, seeing, like... I will say, it is really nice to be like, oh, there's definitely a league mechanic there. I like that. That's pretty cool. But, again, I have to do more mapping to figure out. But, I think overall, it's going to be better than last Epoch. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. just to reiterate, once again, overall, I think Path of Exile 2 is actually a very good game. I don't know if it's a game for me yet. The mapping system is ultimately going to decide if I keep playing this game or not. Maybe it's going to get more interesting and complicated as you get further out. Hopefully it will. Because you have to think, this is like what? This is all like tier 1, tier 2 maps or whatever. Well, I guess any map or any zone could be any tier map. But hopefully it gets way more complicated out here. We'll see what happens. The other main thing that's going to decide if I keep playing is lab. Right now, the third lab is dumb. It is dumb, it is stupid, it is badly designed. I should not have to grind a zone for 3 hours just to maybe get an attempt at a super RNG thing that is so critical to your character. It's kind of silly, and I'm sure the overpowered characters have no idea what I'm talking about. They probably just steamrolled it. But you can't just look at a game from like the most overpowered perspective because then you really miss out on what's really going on with the game. But Path of Exile 2, it's a great game. It's not even close to as good as Path of Exile 1, but I think it has a lot of potential. I have a lot of hope for this game. It'll never, I don't think it'll ever replace Ruthless. Like, Ruthless compared to this, I don't know, man. I don't think it's fair to compare because Ruthless, like Path of Exile, is just so perfect. I love it so much. It's kind of hard for anything to compete with that. But this game, way better than I thought it was going to be. Way better. I don't know if it's the game for me, but I'm going to give it at least another week probably, unless I get tired of the lab stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.